Okay. Okay. Good evening, Lano. Um. Okay. Good evening, Fishy. It's happy. It's a happy, moment with you too. I'm very excited seeing you. Okay, Sandy. It's beautiful seeing you. Okay. And so let's see how today go. We have a long way to go. It's a 2-day lecture, and then we expect that at the end of this lecture series, we have something tangible, like a takeaway nuggets of truth that will be very instrumental for us in terms of, as far as our spiritual, evolutionary process is concerned. So it's something so important. So please pay attention. Ask questions to clarify, places where you didn't really understand, so that we can both be on the same page. You are not permitted to be confused. And the whole essence of this class is to communicate, and it's also for you to understand the mode of communication and that which is communicated. Understand the whole thing. And don't forget, we are all talking about something that is far deeper than language, yet we are using language to communicate. And so we are actually understanding ourselves in terms of language. So, and that's why we have to ensure that the language is well communicated, the point is well understood, all right, and that we all run, with the very truth that has come alive in our hearts, so as to become a more fine-tuned, refined people for the betterment of the collective, or rather for the collective good of humanity. For when one is transformed, then the whole is a step ahead. And so the awakening of one is almost the awakening of all. And so, and if I'm to put this in a very profound way, I would say that you see, we are not to change the world, because there is no objective word that you and I are changing, right? Yes, we have to change ourselves. And so change begins from you. Okay? You change yourself. If there is no mutation in your own psychic structure, there is no way you can alter the system that is being, that you are seeing out there, in quotes. Okay? And so it begins from us. The change begins from you and I. Begins from you and I. Okay? I know you must have heard of the term the Prince of Peace, right? The Prince of Peace. If you're a Christian, you should know what I'm talking about. The moment I say Prince of Peace, then you immediately think about what? About Jesus, who is described as the Prince of Peace. But then the phrase, or the sentence or the term Prince of Peace has nothing to do with what? It has nothing to do with Jesus as a person. You can find it in most, allegorical narration, metaphoric narratives of, most ancient cultures, using the word Prince of Peace or Princess of Peace. The term describes an individual who has been able to, harmonize within himself, okay, all of his energetic channels. One who has been able to bring his household together. Household in this sense means the entirety of your own structure. You've been able to bring it into wholeness. That is what you call peace. It's not the way you understand it, in normal English dictionary. Peace simply means harmony, synthesis. It simply means unification, unison, a center, all right, that unifies all tributaries of human expressions. And so I'll put it this way, in a very simple way. What the Prince of Peace is actually saying is that you cannot heal others if you are not what? If you are not healed within yourself. That the only way you can bring healing to the world is by what? Is by healing yourself. Most of us have unresolved traumas, right? That have not been dealt with. And so we that makes us ineffective in our social interaction, right? And you can't bring about any social change if you have not what? If you have not addressed, that chaos that is locked within your own depth. And so Prince of Peace is a message describing an individual who has looked within himself, right? Yes. And so the only way you can reflect upon the world is by looking within yourself, because there is no objective word. The world is as we are. Say with me, the world is as we are. Yes. The total man is going to be a bit brutal, but then just bear with me. It's ultimately for our good. Okay? And so, if you don't heal, if you are not healed within yourself, there is no way you can bring healing to the world. Right? And so you look within yourself. So change begins from you. All right? There is this famous quote that says, yesterday I was wise. Yesterday I wanted to change the world. And so yesterday I was, He said, yesterday I was smart and intelligent. But today I am wise. Because what? I'm changing myself. At some point, we want to be, there is this savior mentality we all put around. We want to save people, we want to save others, right? Well, then you realize that you have to rediscover the salvation within yourself, right? Then you can bring forth salvation to the world. In fact, your salvation is salvation of the world. Your healing is the healing of the world. Because everything begins from a unit. You can't have a house without a block beginning it, right? And so you are the unit of human coexistence, human social interaction. You are the unit of all of this interaction. And so once you are changed within yourself, then that will cause an effect. It will bring, it will cause a drastic effect in the whole landscape of social interaction. And so it all begins from you and I. Is that clear? Now we have some things that we're going to look at. Of course, on the flyer, as you can rightly see, we let me stand up, right? Am I safe to stand up? Because I don't like sitting again. It makes me I'm not an old man. All right, I'm still a young man, and as you can see, I'm very fit. I can stand up from now till what? till tomorrow. Okay? Yeah. Bodily exercise is very important, right? It's part of the whole thing we're still going to be discussing, because it's total man. What is the meaning of total man? Total man simply is describing a level of integration and wholeness as it cut across all aspects of human being. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm not saying you are a total man. I'm using it in its organic sense, becoming a total man, because you are not yet. If you are not on this inner journey of complete integration, where wholeness is seen in all aspects of your life, emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes, biologically, that wholeness must cut across all these aspects, of being. And so it is a spiritual journey that seeks to bring you into a pedestal of wholeness. All right? And so you can say on that level, or on that ground, that I am a total man. Do you get what I'm saying? All right. And so as I was saying, on the flyer, we indicated a kind of an outline of what we're going to cover. Okay? So let me see how that will be possible without deviating from the thoughts. All right. First, we're going to be looking at the intelligence of self-awareness, right? Intelligence of self-awareness. I think in our last series, which is awareness, mutation, and well-being, awareness, change, and well-being, we dealt with so many things, right? And in that series, we looked at the nature of thought. We looked at the boundless nature of the field, right? And based on what I said as I was concluding that lecture, I said that we are not concluding on anything, right? Yes, just enjoy the flow. Just enjoy knowing without conclusion. Do you get what I'm saying? And there is a reason for that. The reason is that you are not a static being. Say with me, I'm not a static being. Yes, you are an organic being. As an organic being, you grow. All right? You grow. And because you grow and because you evolve as a human being, you're not supposed to have a conclusion when it comes to thought processes. Do you understand? Yes. And this is a sharp deviation from, the idea of orthodoxy when it comes to religion, because it's a defined belief. And so God is to be like this. God cannot be something else, right? Truth is to appear in this way. It should not appear in a different way. And so you find the people who always want to what? Who always want to be consistent with a particular mode of thought, right? Even when they see that the whole thing is no more making sense, they what? They keep holding on to it. They call it tradition. Stupid tradition, right? Oh, hellfire does not make sense anymore. No, we're holding on to it because our tradition is nonsense, right? People once believed in hell because they were not matured, right? People once believed in hell because, they were not critically skilled in terms of thinking. And so they are mature right now. They cannot think for themselves, and they are seeing the whole thing as a bullshit, right? and then you don't trap them by saying this is tradition, right? It's just like when the church thought for centuries that the earth was flat, right? And when it was discovered that it was not really so, I think the church killed the man, right? It killed the man. You can go and check for yourself. And it's always been that when science keep discovering something, you see theologian begins to adjust their test just to what? Just to suit. And that's what you find about dogma, orthodoxy, a defined set of belief. You always want to constrain yourself to what? To it. But then you are a flow. You are not without, you are without what? A defined boundary. The flow does not have a defined boundary. That's why I said in one of my podcasts, I said, life is without a conclusion. Life is inconclusive, right? If life is inconclusive, and you are life being expressed, then you are not conclusive, right? Yes. You're not conclusive. Why am I saying all of this? I'm saying all of this because what we're going to be talking about, I don't want you to start saying, no, okay, this is what we'll talk about in that series now. Why is it not coming that way? Why am I talking something different? Please understand me. Of course, I expect that many of you should understand me by now, right? Yeah. And just in case you are new, just stay around. That's the best. That's always the best thing I can tell people. Just always stick around. And with time, you understand my flow, okay? I'm not a theologian, okay? And so let's just enjoy ourselves. Right. The intelligence of self-awareness is so important when we talk about integration. Let me write. When we talk about what? Integration. Remember, is a total man. Talking about our journey of being a total man. It's a journey of integration. It is the nature of such integration is such that brings about wholeness at all levels of being, right? Yes. And so, in this sense, you are like an analyst, analyzing all aspects of your being, right? And so, if we talk about self-awareness, and then we describe it as an intelligence, you must understand that not too many people, all right, not too many people, are self-aware. Do you understand? People are not self-aware. And because they are not self-aware, they don't understand the way to live. Do you understand what I'm saying? They don't understand the way to live. Because the most powerful way to live is to understand you, right? Yes. And the understanding of you, it's so critical, right? And mind you, when I say you or me, I am talking about the you that is beyond social construct, right? I'm talking about the you that is beyond religious construct. I'm talking about the you that you learned by people just rounding their mouths and telling you their traditions. Because mostly what we are faced with as human beings is is identity crisis, right? A distorted kind of identity, right? Yes. And that's what is wrong, right? You see what is wrong, not just with us as individual people, but also wrong with us as a nation. Okay? Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. You see somebody quoting God, how God is dealing with the nation of Israel, and want to impose that model on Nigeria. It does not work. Do you understand what I'm saying? We cannot expect God, to come upon the nation of Nigeria like you have it in what? Like you have it in the Bible. We don't need it. We don't need that model. In fact, that existed centuries. Do you get what I'm saying? thousands of years ago, and it's just, most of which are what? They are narratives, allegorical narratives, and we can't use that to what? It's not a perfect, it's not a buoyant model, all right, to investigate, the possibilities as it surrounds the nation Nigeria. Do you get that? And so what you will find in that case is a distorted form of identity. It's just like using Jesus or Buddha, for example, right? Now, of course, these people are very wonderful. Jesus, most especially, because all my life I've been a Christian, right? Until I officially declared to part with it, right? But then before then, I've been a Christian. I've been a Christian, and not just a Christian. I've been a Christian teacher, a Christian author, all right, for years. And then you see, I've learned from Jesus. Okay, I've learned from Jesus, and so I'm saying this so that you won't think somehow, right? But then the truth is the truth. You see, when you look at Buddha, for example, if you look at Buddha among the Asian people in Asia, right? The Buddha figure, the Jesus figure in the West, right? You see, you cannot strive to be like Jesus, right? Yes. Cannot strive to be like Jesus. Can you learn something from him? Yes. Can you learn something from Buddha? Yes. But you see, you cannot strive to be like any, right? Yes. Because you must appreciate your uniqueness in a communal diversities, right? That is the only way that we can see the beauty of the absolute. If you religiously call it God, right, it's okay. But to see the beauty of God as it manifests within this communal diversity, we must honor and respect our what? Our uniqueness. And so to be like is to darken, is to hide. Do you understand? Is to damage the beauty of the absolute, right? So you are not to be like anyone. Okay? Be yourself. All right? Be yourself. Now, it is the beauty of this self that we are not talking about. The journey of self-discovery, the journey of inner recovery, right? Yes, when we talk about discovery, we must also talk about what? Recovery. Because discovery is not eventually becoming something that you are not, right? It is a recovering process. Because we've all gone through all kinds of construction. And then we've picked up all kinds of, distorted identity. All right. And so we need to recollect ourselves. There has to be a form of integrating work that is happening underneath your daily engagement and interaction. Who are you? Is the first question. The intelligence of self-awareness. Who are you? Who are you? I think this question is so important, right? Yes. It is one of the fundamental questions in the heart of being a human being, right? In the heart of human coexistence. Because if we cannot understand who we are, then our social interaction is going to be what? It's going to be jeopardized, right? Yes. We're not giving to tribalism, because if we don't know who we are, then culture will define us, right? Yes. We're going to it's going to give way to racism, because if you don't know who you are, then your color what? Your color will define you. If you don't know who you are, then your job, whatever you do, will what? Will define you. And if that defines you, you become a superficial what? A superficial human being who live within a limited, defined dimension of existence, which I will call time. Please take note of that. Which are what? Which I will call time. Because timelessness, okay? When we talk about timelessness, we talk about presence, we talk about consciousness, we talk about awareness, we talk about bliss. We talk about that which transcends the spectrum of time to be, right? That which is beyond the spectrum of time. Okay, you call it timelessness, which, if I may put it in a mystical way, I call it the spiritual dimension of being human, right? Yes. And every one of us must embark or must know how to live from within this timeless state. And when we look at this timeless state, there is nothing like culture, right? There is no culture. There is a place of culture because we all are unique in terms of how we evolve, right? Yes. Our culture, all of these are the result of our unique way of evolving. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes. So it has its place. But then when we come to the real deal of life, then we look at who we truly are, then you understand that this plays a very what? It plays an insignificant role in who you truly are, because who you are is timeless. Is what? Is timeless. You are a spiritual being, right? And so being human go beyond time, right? Go beyond time. It encompasses timelessness, presence, consciousness. And all of this is beyond the color of your skin, is beyond your culture, is beyond your religion. Because we have pulled out all kinds of identities, all kinds of definitions to define who we are. But then as you embark on this inner journey of self-discovery, you realize that you cannot assess your depth without deconstructing all of this. Without what? Without deconstruction, right? This is what you call devil, right? Deconstruction, right? Deconstruction. If we talk about timelessness, we talk about presence, we talk about consciousness, we can call that one God, right? And so when I say the spiritual dimension of being human, I'm actually talking about your godness. Your what? Your godness. And so by the time you say, what is God? God is not a Beniman, right? God is not white or black. God is not, you see, your tribalism does not what? Does not define God. Your culture does not define God. Your religion does not define God, right? Yes. And so when it comes to presence, it's nameless. God is nameless. When we talk about consciousness, this is your spiritual dimension of being human. And it's completely nameless, right? And for one to really rediscover the godness, then everything that has defined you superficially, it must face the devil. It must what? It must face the devil. What is the devil? The devil is deconstruction, the power to deconstruct. So without going through the pathway of the devil, you cannot rediscover your God. That is that the godness cannot be discovered until the devil is active. There must be that deconstructing process, collapsing everything into the void, so that you can see the timeless dimension of being, which is God, which is who you are, right? And so these are the things you must understand as you embark on the possibility of being aware of the self. Being aware of this self that constitutes the basis for integration. For what? For integration. Right? Let's say tomorrow we're going to talk about the age of ages, which are the star thinkers, because the star thinkers has to do with star thinkers are integrative thinkers. They are what? They are integrative thinkers, integrating all dimensions. They know that nothing happening without is what is separate from that which is what, which is within. And so they assess all of their, all the dimension, all their dimensions of expression, and seek the center of integration. For example, your emotional what? Let's say your emotional aspect, right? Your emotional aspect. Now, mind you, all of these, right, All of this has a way of affecting our social interaction, like we said before, right? Okay. And so you see that there are things that we have left unresolved within the depth of our emotion, right? That has hindered our relationships. Is that true? Yes. That has hindered our relationships. And so the condition of the human space that we are all living in, it's a reflection of the inner conditions of everybody. Of what? Of everybody. Of all. But now, watch this. All the conditions, all the human condition, it's a reflection of who you are, right? Because in the ultimate sense, there is really no individuality, right? We only have individuality within this diverse space to allow for relationship, right? And the only reality there is to the absolute is relationship within the diverse space of human existence, right? Yes. And so everything, it's a reflection of who you are. This is actually the idea behind the word Messiah, right? Behind the word Messiah. Messiah, the messianic archetype, if you want to put it that way. Because the Messiah is not just the savior that is sent to you from without, right? Yes. The Messiah is an integrative thinker. Is one who is able to reconcile the opposite, right? Reconciling the opposite. Reconciling the opposite. And so it was on the cross, it says, Father, forgive them for what? For they know not what they are doing. It's supposed to be punishment, but then he has to reconcile the opposite. And so you see forgiveness as a reconciliation. It's a reconciliating energy. Okay? Because you must understand that when you talk about, I pray that Christians really understand this. That the blood of Jesus is not just the red what? It's not the red pigment that was shed on the tree. Because when you look at in the ancient times, in most cultures, the blood is life. Even in biology, blood is what? Blood is life. Therefore, what you call the blood is actually the summation of the life of the man that he lived. That means that we, by how we live for others, by how we live to integrate the collective experience of being human, we are shedding our blood. Do you get what I'm saying? I told somebody, I'm shedding my blood for you. And you should shed your blood for everyone. What am I simply saying? Live for others, right? Live for what? Live for others. Create a space in your heart that's create a space within your heart where the other can flourish blissfully, as a human being. For a very long time, we've not really done that, right? Yes. Because if you understand this, you won't seek to be converting people to your religion, right? You create a space for them to exist. And that's simply what the word Messiah is all about. And so, another word for Messiah, you call it what? Integration. Right? Integration. And so, how can Messiah play out within your own body structure? Within your own space? It is uniting all of your expressions as a human being. Reconciling your shadow self too. Your what? Your shadow self. Of course, you guys know what I'm talking about when I say the shadow self, right? What do you say? Name? Okay. All right. Tell somebody new. Okay. What's the shadow self? What's the shadow self? That self you don't want people to what? To know about you. To know about. You know, that self that you constantly run away from, you constantly seek to avoid. That's the shadow, right? But then that is within those shadow is your way of is the way of freedom, right? That in that shadow lies your freedom. The things that we fear often carries the energy of our freedom. If we know how to unlock our shadow, then we can truly be free, right? Yes, we can truly be free. Okay, and so generally, the journey of self-awareness is not for the faint-hearted. It's a brutal journey, right? It's a brutal journey. It's a brutal journey. Okay, and you see, every one of us has this responsibility to become total, to become, to become whole. Now, this is the greatest gift you can ever offer to the world, right? Yes. We are the way we are right now because not too many people are whole in themselves, right? Yes. And religion do not really care about that. Just fill up the chairs and that's it. But then, are we whole? Are we deeply experiencing peace? Are we changed inside? Is there a complete mutation in our psychic structure? Are we seeing ourselves instead of seeing how bad the world is, how bad this is, instead of seeing how twisted the world is? Are we seeing ourselves? Are we seeing that what you think is happening without, it's a reflection of the inner conditions of men? Are we seeing that? Are we seeing that the religious structure, is completely irrelevant when it comes to a genuine inward change in man for the collective good of the world? You see, you must understand, if any man is changed religiously, he wants to be changed so he can make heaven, right? Not for the prosperity of his neighbor. Do you get what I'm saying? Not for the nation. And so even the what you may call a religious transformation is completely useless or irrelevant as far as the collective good is concerned, right? Yes. Okay. So, any question before we move ahead, move forward? Any questions so far? Somebody is asking? Okay, personally? What is it? What's the question?
Well, I don't really have she continued. What is organic behavior?
Okay, what is organic? It's a question, since we are asking for questions and all. It's a good question. When you say organic, you're talking about something that is alive, something that has the capacity to grow, not something that, when something that has capacity to grow as compared to that which does not grow, and so it means it's just there. And so I use the word static being, to describe people who have been imprisoned within a defined religious belief, such that as they grow, you grow. Right? The way you were thinking 20 years ago is not the way you'll be thinking now. But if you were to remain within your orthodoxy, you discover that you've not truly evolved mentally. It's a form of disability. And we're supposed to evolve and grow in all areas, not just bodily, but mentally. All right? And so the way you grow, bodily, you call that flow. But when you remain static without growing, it's what we refer to as being a static being. And that, of course, is very unhealthy for you when it comes to mental processes. One is supposed to grow. And so to be a static being is to be conclusive. Are you hearing me? Is to be conclusive. When you are conclusive and says, this is it, and it cannot be something different anymore. So it means that as you grow, you will continue to bound yourself within that defined boundary, right? And so that's what it means to be static. And so you maybe 20 years back you say, so there was hell and you fought vehemently for it. And says all the people that are saying there is no hell is somehow. And so because you have drawn a line of conclusion on that, as you grow up, and as you begin to discover the possibility, or let's say a different meaning of that, you're going to grapple with that, you're going to struggle with that, because you feel, or because you already define yourself within that belief. But right now, growth is telling you that as at the time you drew a line of conclusion, you were just so immature. But as you grow, you are expected to throw off your boundaries. You are expected to know that life itself is not static. Life is a flow. There is no conclusion. And I hope you understand what I meant by that. Is that satisfying enough? Is that okay? All right. Any question? Any further question? Please ask questions. I don't want you to be confused. I just want you to get the whole point. Okay, if you get everything, just signify. Just say, yes, I got it. Signify, everybody signify. No one left, okay. Okay, all right. So that is for self-awareness. So when we're all right, that's beautiful. And so when you talk about self-awareness, it's an intelligence which you and I must cultivate, and it has to do with integration. It has to do with integrating all of yourselves, all right, coming down to the center of being. And in saying that, or in embarking on that, you have to assume a devil posture. And we said that this devil posture is a deconstructing posture, because to truly find God within your depth, then you must transcend all religious, cultural construction that has given you a form of identity. which has made you live at the superficial level of consciousness. But that if you must assess your spiritual dimension of being human, your own depth of being, then the devil mode must be activated, which deconstruct all of these hindrances towards you discovering yourself, all right, beyond social construct, beyond religion, beyond color. And I think if humanity must move forward, like we've been talking about, we must begin to come inward. We must begin to transcend our color. We must begin to activate the devil mode so that God can flourish in our consciousness. When God flourishes in our consciousness, then we can outgrow tribalism in our nation. We can outgrow racism in our world. But until that happens, we're still going to be very limited. And it is so fortunate that a people who claim to be very spiritual are still ruled by what? They are still ruled by time, right? They are ruled by culture. They are ruled by tribalism. Do you understand what I'm saying? You see? And so you must answer the fundamental question of who you are. And to gain a deeper, unmediated insight of that personal identity, the devil mode must be activated. That deconstruct your color, deconstruct your religious construct, deconstruct your social construct, deconstruct your tribal construct, so you can find the innocence of being. You can find that which is nameless. You can find that which is undefined. You can find that which is beyond all construct. Then we can begin to live together in an authentic peace and harmony. That is so important. Oh. Excuse me. Oh my. I don't know how I can pass this to you. I don't know how I can hammer this on your heart. The source of our problem, the source of our collective problem, is because human beings have been superficial in their experience of living. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because a truly awakened human being, you see, when this world becomes the world of awakened people, nobody will seek to go to heaven. Do you understand what I'm saying? You won't pray to make heaven. Everybody is frustrated, hence they want to live right, so that at least they can make heaven at the end of the day. If perhaps it is true, right? Yes. And so belief become a means of what? A means of escape. What a big shit. So tragic. Belief become a means of escape because we have completely sabotaged the space of human experience with our uncultivated psyche. We are uncultivated human beings, locked within the superficial surface of identities that have been distorted. And so the question of who you are is so paramount when recovering yourself, when becoming the total man, a man who is whole, the manifestation of the Prince of Peace within the space of our psyche, manifestation of the Princess of Peace within our psychic structure, within our mental space. We must locate that center of integration. And to see the center of integration is to transcend all of your construct of identities that has kept you at the surface level of what? Of consciousness. Because that is where our division or what? Is. That's where it lies. That's where all our confusion lies. Because deep down within is the center. And when you find the center, you find integration. And when you find integration, you find harmony. And by the time we are deeply rooted, just like the tree, when the tree that is deeply rooted inside the earth flourishes, to that tree, the wind is not a threat, right? And when the wind blows, it soars. You understand what I'm saying? The branches spreads abroad. When we are not rooted, we think that the other is an enemy, right? When we are not rooted in our center, we think the black is our enemy. When we are not rooted in the center, we think the white is our enemy. When we are not rooted in the center, we think the Igbo man is what? Is our enemy. And yet we claim to be a religious people, superficial people, shallow kind of people. Right? When you are rooted within your center, a place of complete integration of being, then we flourish in peace. There is no enemy, right? Yes. This is the fact. No enemy. There was an experiment where the black and the red ant, I don't know if we have heard about the experiment, right? Now, the giant red ant, right, and the black, they all live together in peace and harmony inside the jar. As long as the jar was not shaking. Now, when they shook the jar, both ants began to what? Fight against themselves and kill each other. Where is the problem? Where is the problem? Where is the problem? Is who shook the jar, right? Yes. Not those who are fighting. The moment we lose touch with that inner center, then everything at the shallow surface of consciousness, which is where you find your culture, your tribes, your color, and all of that, they begin to cause and bring a divide. And it's time for us to mature. It's time for us to become spiritual, right? Even those who claim to be, religion is not spirituality. And I can't say that enough. Because most of the time, when you check what is going on, and people who are claiming to be spiritual, you realize they are just only what? They are merely religious, right? They are not truly spiritual. Because to be spiritual is to be in touch, with your inner center. And he that is in touch with his inner center is an integrative being, right? Yes. An integrative being. Are we together? An integrative being. It's an integrative being. Now, let me tell you, one of the major expression that allows the collective human experience to flourish is what is called compassion. Say with me, compassion. Remember, that's the second thing, exploring compassion, right? It's compassion. Without compassion, we are finished, right? Being in touch with your center is the foundation for compassion, which is the major expression for the flourishing of the collective human experience. You see, right? Now, if you are a Christian, you notice this with Jesus, right? He was what? He was moved with compassion. Mark the word move. It's an action. Remember we talk about stillness and action? Action coming from the void. Because the only productive action is the action that stems from the void. That stems from emptiness. That stems from the center. And so Jesus was moved with compassion. Right? Yes. And so there is no compassionate movement without one being in touch with his own center. You see, let me tell you, oh God. See, if this is so important. Important. Without compassion. What happens if a leader is not compassionate? You see? The condition of the nation is the way it is because we have leaders who are not in touch with their center. They're not what? They are not in touch with their center. One who is not spiritually in touch with himself cannot express compassion. Cannot what? Cannot express compassion. Mind you, I'm not talking about pity. I'm not what? I'm not talking about pity. Pity is not compassion. Compassion is a transforming agency. Is what? It's an agent of transformation. One who brings about change. And so if we must explore compassion, then we must talk about being in touch, spiritually being in touch with our center. And so compassion is missing in our world. This is why our world is the way it is. Despite of the whole religious structure, do you understand what I'm saying? Check most religions, about 5 to 8,000 denominations everywhere, right? Everywhere, and yet we are still like this. It simply means that what we are doing is an organization. But when it comes to the organic aspect of life, which is more subtle and spiritual, then it has to do with the individual coming in touch with himself and not just engaging in external religious activity and thinking that you are spiritual, because we can see the fruit. It says, you shall know them by their what? By their fruit. Which fruit are you producing? Not producing anything. You are only here to convert to your religion. There is no fruit. Therefore, there is no spirituality. There what? Because spirituality simply means being in touch with your center. And compassion is the fruit of being in touch with one's own center, with one's own inner core. Because that's where you truly find. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's where you find the order. You get what I'm saying? You see, to express compassion for the other is to see the order inside of you. Do you understand what I'm saying? A mystic said, as I walk down the street, I see everyone as a reflection of me. There is no way one can function by that sight and not express compassion. Mind you, it's not pity. It's not pity. True compassion comes with an energy. That energy is transformative. Is what? It's transformative. And we can actually take this. I mean, there are possibilities that have happened just as a result of compassion. Seriously. Jesus was moved with compassion, and therefore miracle did what? Follows. There are accounts of people who comes to you in violence, but the aura of compassion coming from within is still. Do you understand? Do you know what it means to steal the mouth of the avengers? Do you know what it means to steal the mouth of violence, to close the mouth of lions? Do you know what it means to oh my God? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you know what it means to bring to a close the mouth of violence? And so you see, by that energy, it has energy that comes with it, and it can close the mouth of violence. You call it, that's compassion. He was moved with compassion. Right? And so exploring compassion is through this spiritual corridor of being in touch with one's own self, right? With one's own center. Any question? Any more question on compassion? You understand that? If you understand, say with me, I understand. Just indicate, say I understand. Okay. I think read out the question.
The question for universe and common good is another need for required construction the same as going to God.
It's another name for the required the construction mode, devil. The same as going through God's consuming fire. Yeah, if you want to put it that way, you can put it that way, right? These are words. Activating the devil mode, it's a deconstructing mode, so as to get to the finest center within you. And so if you can see it as God's consuming fire, you are okay. Like I said initially, this language. But then just trying to give you a different meaning of the word devil, so you don't think it's an existing entity trying to fight your progress. Because your progress, you are the facilitator of your progress, and you are the enemy. You know what? Don't make me laugh. I'm not smiling. Yes, you are. You are the enemy to your progress. And you are do you understand what I'm saying? You are the facilitator of your progress. Stop praying against one devil somewhere. You are the devil to your own self. And so the solution to what you're going is what? Is you, right? Is you. And when it comes to the nation at large, we must look within ourselves, right? Yes. We must look within ourselves. It's not just to fast and pray for the nation. Look within your what? Look at yourself. Because the source of the problem is not far-fetched. The solution is within our reach. You only fast and pray because you think the solution is beyond you. But that's not true. It's a lie. The problem caused by you can be resolved by what? By you. The only solution that is beyond you is to a problem that is what? That is beyond you, not what you are causing, right? And so let us come. So you can put it that way. You can put it that way. God's consuming fire, activating the devil mode. All right, but just be free with language, okay? Be free with language. Sandy, do you understand that? Sandy, is that clear? All right, you Understanding is okay. All right. Compassion. You guys said you got it. Okay. Any question on compassion? I know we understand, but any question on compassion? Any question on compassion? Any question on compassion? It's not pity. Any question on compassion? Now, there is should I talk about this? Let me talk about it in relation to compassion. Okay. Now, those of you who really want to enhance your dream life, you want to be able to see things and transcend the limitation of time through dreams. All right. One of the effective way to explore the dream state, the door of dreams, is to go through the corridor of compassion, to explore compassion. If you explore compassion, you can see. And then there are other paranormal psychic expressions that you can actually activate through the door of compassion. Many people think is when it comes to Christianity, we talk about okay, fast and pray to activate the anointing. Fast and pray to activate the anointing. But many people fail to realize, right, that the energy, the source of possibilities that lies within each and every one of us is activated through the mode of compassion. When there is that pure compassion, one can begin to assess deeper depths of reality as embodied within him. Okay? And so compassion is so important, and you cannot express compassion if you are not in touch with your center, right? That's what we said. If you are not in touch with your center, you cannot fully express compassion. Okay? We need compassion amidst our leaders, right? We need compassion, in our social interaction. We need compassion in our world. Where there is compassion, there is a complete disempowerment of tribalism, right? Disempowerment of racism, disempowerment of all of these illusions that have taken over our common sense and have, ripped us apart. If we let compassion to flow by being in touch with our center, then all of this shallowness will be transcended. All right, that is all for compassion, and I hope we got that. Is that okay? Are we okay with that? All right. Okay. I think I don't want to load you too much with so many things. I think we are left with just two: man in being, man in doing, the age of ages, star thinkers, and questions. We'll leave that for tomorrow, right? We'll just round off with that tomorrow. And I hope you have been blessed so far. All right, please meditate on this. I love you, and I will always do. Enjoy yourself, and live well, be alive to yourself. I love you, and stay good.